Good afternoon, cult members, and welcome to Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And this is episode 7 of TV Time. It says 6, but actually it is actually 7.
Okay.
Because I've been doing notes and maybe not being sober because hashtag Cold Beer Sunday. We haven't had a show, TV Time, last couple of weeks because we were on a whirlwind tour of the United Kingdom. And we talked about it a bunch on the big show from last week, different things we did and stuff. And we've only been home for a few hours today because our lives are busy, and we decided to go to Prescott this weekend to see some friends.
Yep.
And at some point in time in our lives, we'll actually sleep in our own beds.
Maybe tonight.
I'm not holding my breath, though. Welcome to TV Time, where we talk mostly TV stuff. That is the general plan. We do this show out of the goodness of our heart, mostly because we want to talk about TV stuff, and this is our outlet. And so we ask that you do one thing in return for watching our videos, and that is subscribe to the channel.
Yep.
It's not hard. You just go over and hit the bell. You hit the bell too. You hit the button to hit subscribe. It changes colors. You hit the bell so you get notifications. Because we do a whole bunch of other stuff like the Bohemian Rhapsody, oh my God, review. And we also asked one other thing: that share with your friends. Tell your friends about it, what we're doing, and stuff like that. So we're gonna get into the TV Time stuff this week. We're gonna start off with it. Jeopardy's been around since Dirt.
It has.
With Alex Trebek. But it's evolving in, I'm not really sure how I feel about it, but they announced last Monday that on the 30th, a 45-episode library became available on Netflix.
Right.
It is, they pulled episodes from the Tournament of Champions, the College Championships, the Kids Week, and then some, favorite episodes and stuff like that.
So these are shows that have already been seen on regular TV.
Right.
Okay.
Now, the reason we're talking about it this week is, we're talking about a long-running trivia show, game show that's been on forever. And it also is on Hulu. Yeah. So Hulu has 60 episodes. And Netflix has 45, but those 45 are from the 60 that Hulu has.
Okay. And so still already previously aired.
Right. There's nothing new coming out that's going to be on those. They're it's like the best of kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. So that's weird and cool all at the same time, right? So cool because I kind of see this as Jeopardy and other maybe game shows kind of dipping their toe in the streaming service waters and trying to figure that out. But also weird because do people go back and watch those? Is that a thing?
Josh McCouga from Collider and the Josh McCouga Show has been on a campaign to be the next host of Jeopardy. Josh McCouga, hashtag Josh McCouga for Jeopardy.
Yeah.
And they also came up this last week that Alex Trebek, Vanna White, and what is his name from
Pat Sajak
have all re-upped till 2021.
Okay.
So they're all getting towards the end of their time in the shows and whatever. And so I'm wondering if this is their, like you're saying, dipping their toe about trying something and moving forward and whatever. Everybody pretty much feels like the next evolution in television and in entertainment is streaming.
Right.
So if you have that, do you put Jeopardy or your game show or whatever on that thing?
And how does that work? Right. Is it because game shows, Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, are pretty much the only live things on TV anymore, right?
I know they're taped, but I think they're
Are
live
they taped?
to tape. I think they're live to tape.
All right.
But people like Josh McCouga have talked about going back and watching old episodes. fan favorites. Like we rewatch Doctor Who at least once every couple of months.
Yeah.
So it's the same kind of idea with Jeopardy.
Yeah.
And there's people that are out there that want that kind of thing. I just don't feel like it's.
It just seems weird because once you've watched it, like, do you memorize the answer so you feel better about yourself?
Right. Are you studying so you have a chance, or whatever? I mean, if you're doing that, then that makes sense. It's
kinda
like watching. As much as we love the Schmodown, it's like going back and watching old matches of the Schmodown that we've already seen.
Yeah.
Like
you know who wins.
You know who wins and that kind of thing. It's going back and watching old, college football games or NBA games or whatever.
Yeah.
It's cool to like relive like the highlights and stuff. But I just
and maybe if they're like, Michael Jordan's major win or something like that, but just a regular college game.
I have been known to go back and watch like,
the Rose Bowl,
or whatever. Like if it's an epic, the Texas USC game from a few years ago. Like I'll go back and rewatch that. But I much rather watch the telling of the story of that game.
Yeah.
Than more I already know what happens, so that kind of thing.
Right,
so.
Behind the scenes kind of thing.
Right, but it is available on Netflix now, so if you are definitely a trivia nerd, there's plenty of us out there that are trivia nerds. Go watch it and support it because ratings count for Netflix. And the reason I say that is because of our next story. Iron Fist and Luke Cage both got canceled. Now, we were gone for a couple of weeks for our giant tour, and so we haven't had a chance to talk about this. And let's first talk about the idea that Iron Fist and Luke Cage both got axed in back-to-back days.
Yeah, so Iron Fist, okay. I even said when we talked about it on the show that they left it at a point where it could be done.
Right.
We could be done, or they could have picked it back up, but it worked. You're not left hanging like, hey, you left a bunch of unanswered questions. Luke Cage, on the other hand, is kind of the opposite of that. I mean, I don't know that they left it on a...
Okay, we haven't watched it. And part of the reason we haven't watched it is because anybody else that we knew didn't watch it. And so we didn't really hear anything good or bad about it.
Right.
But from the very little that I had...
I like Luke Cage.
I like Luke Cage a lot. I like the first half of Luke Cage really a lot. But from the very little that I have heard, it was left on kind of a cliffhanger.
Okay.
So it feels weird. Now, Screen Rant did an article and from information that they got from a website called Jump Shot. Now, Jump Shot is they have 5 million actions a day across 100 million devices in North America. And so what they're pretty much doing is they're taking the data that's essentially available out there and kind of compiling it in their own little thing. Netflix doesn't send out ratings or viewer numbers or revenue numbers. They're very private about all of that
but
stuff.
Jump Shot kind of seems to have access to
at least
all this information,
all the information that they can actually get to and stuff.
Okay.
So from Jump Shot, Screen Rant had said that Luke Cage and Iron Fist both lost nearly 2/3 of their viewers on their second season from their first season. Luke Cage lost 59% of their viewers, and Iron Fist lost 64% of their viewers.
But isn't this one that just came out their third season?
No, they're both
Cage?
the second second seasons.
Okay. I thought this was...
You don't count Defenders, it's its own thing.
Yeah. No, I was thinking this was the third season of Luke Cage.
Yeah, it was just the second. Feels the first season feels like two because it's two different stories.
Yeah, and maybe that's it.
That was it. But so if we go based off of those numbers, it makes sense that if you have a show, let's say there's 10 million viewers on the show, which is a good number, and you lose 60% of your audience, guess what? You're not remaking the show. Yeah,
I would be interested to see how Netflix figures that all out because they're a streaming service. So just because you don't watch it in the first week or the first month doesn't mean you're not going to watch it. It could just mean that there's a bunch of stuff out right now,
right.
and I don't have time.
And there's a little bit of that going on in our house. But Stranger Things, she's wearing her Stranger Things shirt. That was one of those ones that they put together, they let it out, and it was 3-4 months down the line, and everybody starts talking about it.
Yeah.
So but it was kind of an anomaly. It's not really a great example, but it is one of those things that we've talked about it in the past. Netflix has been throwing everything against the wall, and whatever sticks, and whatever else they still put money into it, but it doesn't stick around. So this is an example of, at least from our point of view, that it's not working. We're getting away from it. However, the kind of the little thing in the corner is the Marvel name attached to Disney. And Disney streaming service is coming.
It's true. They could end up, they will end up pulling everything from
eventually, yes.
Netflix.
Right now, the Netflix universe stuff is its own entity and everything. But for the most part, there's no pull to bring them to Disney. However, at least publicly, let's put it that way. However, I know eventually they want to have everything under one umbrella.
Yeah, I could just see them running their course on Netflix.
Right.
And then if they decide to do something on the Disney Channel with or the Disney streaming service with or without the people who have been playing those parts today, but let them maybe run their course on Netflix. Another thing, too, is that nothing on Netflix, we're used to regular TV where MASH ran for 10 years and Friends ran for 10 years and Supernatural has ran for a million years.
Season 13 already. Yeah,
and nothing on Netflix has really gone more than 4
or
seasons.
5. Yeah. I know that they talked about Stranger Things only going 4.
4,
which I'm totally okay with. I actually talked about this yesterday with somebody. I liked the first 5 seasons of Supernatural, and then it kind of just seems like it's been hanging on.
Yeah.
And I don't want a show to hang on just to hang on. I want a show to actually evolve. Arrow has done that. I've felt that Arrow has done that.
Well, and they spend a lot of money. Netflix spends a lot of money, so let it run its course 3, 4, 5 seasons, and then use that money for the next thing. Yeah.
Out. Thank you for your time. We'll pick up something else. And so, I appreciate that. Finn Jones, who played Danny Rand, came out publicly this last week and said, if they want me to show up as Danny Rand in anything else, I will do it.
Well, yeah.
And there's been no real official word of Michael Coulter, who did Luke Cage showing up, but I'm sure he would. I'm feeling everything that I've read, he would probably do the same thing.
Yeah. Well, and they're not going to say, "Fuck you, Netflix."
Right.
They're not going to burn their bridges.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they do something. They might do another season. They've said no, but I don't trust anybody about doing a second season of Defenders and then calling it good.
And maybe that gets picked up by Disney.
Or something like that, along that line. So those shows are going away. Daredevil Season 3 is out. We are trying to finish a couple of things. One of those things is this week's Pop Choice of the Week. Also on Netflix, it's called Bodyguard. It is from the UK. We are specifically not picking UK shows. It just happens to be that there's some really good television coming from right now.
Kind of better than
we
ours.
have 2 episodes left of the 6-story arc. They are big episodes, so it's not like we can just sit down and watch 4 or 5 or 6 of them in a night.
So it's British TVs, and generally British series, they're half an hour each, and they break them up, and they don't put commercials in the middle. They put commercials at both ends. So the shows themselves are 23, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
So then when we get them, like Sherlock, they clump them all together into what would essentially be an episode.
Right.
And they end up being an hour 15, an hour 20 for us. So yeah, they're big episodes.
Been big episodes. But this show is about it's about a guy who went to Afghanistan and he's come home and he is now serving as a bodyguard for Parliament, and he becomes the bodyguard of the Secretary of Defense, essentially for the British government, and it's the political intrigue of British politics and government and all that stuff going on,
terrorism
and immigration, all that kind of conversation. It's super well done.
Yeah.
It is so well done, but it is a sit down and pay attention to show.
Yeah.
You can't just have it on in the background and pick up what's going on. There's there's accents, so there's a period of transition in there with that. But there's also just a lot of details of different things going on, and you kind of sometimes when they do the show recaps before the next episode starts, I missed that. I got that and stuff like that.
And this series, or at least the first one, apparently opened on the BBC for the biggest numbers ever of a TV show in Britain, and it was like 10 million, which is huge considering there's probably only about that many people in the UK. So it was, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal. We will do a full review next week on the show, but we were already telling people, go watch it. Go
you need
watch
to watch
it.
This.
We're also doing Doctor Who reviews. We'll have another one tonight. We have one from last week where we kind of did a twofer because we were gone. We did Rosa and Arachnids in the UK. It's a twofer episode. They're about 12-15 minute reviews, so definitely if you're into Doctor Who, watch that. Obviously we are. We're gonna have two more stories we want to talk about. Again, one of these kind of broke while we were gone, but I still wanted to talk about it. In the vein of the Disney streaming service, they have already told us we're getting a Loki series with Tom Hiddleston, and we're getting a Scarlet Witch one with why is her name escaping me? Anyways,
I can't think of it either.
Oh my God, that's terrible. Olsen. Janet.
No.
Janny.
No.
We are the worst people.
Not the twins.
Anyways, so we knew that those were coming. There's some speculation of what that means for the overall Marvel universe. I could get into that now, but that's not what this one is about. But then they told us that we're getting a Falcon and Winter Soldier team-up series.
I'm not sure how I feel about this.
Now, this is really weird because the two of them are Cap's best friends, right?
But they don't like each other.
But they kind of don't like each other. So, and is this a fight to become the new Captain America, if we're supposed to believe everything that you read on the internet?
Or is it an odd couple?
Chris Evans is leaving, or odd couple? Is it a buddy cop travel movie? Is it like...
I don't know.
There's so much different things that are going on. Variety is reporting that it's actually coming from Malcolm Spellman. Now, Malcolm Spellman did a bunch of stuff for Empire.
Oh, okay.
So it's that level of writing and that kind of stuff. But again, we are getting Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie to play the two roles, just like we are with the other one. So they're going to be able to continue on with their characters.
Right.
However, we think.
Right.
Spoilers, because you've been living under a rock. But it's going to be a limited series. They're saying 10 episodes, just like the other ones are going to be.
Okay.
And we're going to be able to expand on both of these characters, but we're going to do it together. Nobody officially has come out from Marvel or Disney and saying, yes, it's actually going to happen, but Variety's reporting it, and Variety's been pretty close.
Yeah.
Been pretty good with all of that stuff.
It's kind of big, too, for them to speculate. They probably are pretty sure. It's interesting. I was just thinking about this. I wonder what this does for their contracts, right? So they have, you were under contract to make X amount of films.
Films, right.
Did they have a film left and this fulfills their film contract? Right, because they never put a TV show in the film contract. They didn't know.
That's true. And to my counter to that is the world is new. Like, the world of making films and TV is completely different than anything we've ever had before.
Yeah.
And so they may have their own film contract and that gets done, and then Marvel and Disney comes back and say, we'd like to do this series, and
maybe.
they sign okay, yes, we're in, but
Maybe.
we'll only do 10 episodes, we're not going to do 15 seasons, that kind of thing.
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea what contracts they signed to begin with. I just started thinking about it. I was like, I wonder if they had a movie left, if this would fulfill that movie.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't, with nothing official coming out from Disney about the streaming service, other than we know we're getting The Mandalorian, we're getting a live action Lady and the Tramp, and that's like the only things official that we know are coming from the streaming service. Everything else has been speculative.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So I'm interested. Disney's getting our money, so let's just announce it.
Right.
We'll sign up. We're ready to go. Last story that we're talking about tonight, this morning, afternoon, Sunday time.
Today-ish.
Whatever. We're still working on time because whatever. It's hashtag Cold Beer Sunday. Is Naomi Watts has been cast in the Game of Thrones prequel series that's coming to HBO.
Yep.
Now, there's tons of speculation going on about what this series is actually going to be. What we know for sure is Jane Goldman, who did some of the Kick-Ass stuff, is going to be the showrunner.
Okay.
And they're going to use stuff from Martin.
Right.
And it's because he's written a bunch of this universe. What we know for sure is that Naomi Watts and where's the guy's name? Josh Whitehouse, who is kind of an unknown globally. He's done some stuff for the BBC.
Poldark?
Poldark. I haven't heard of the series.
I haven't either.
And it's supposed to be rumoredly about 8,000 years in the past of the Game of Thrones universe.
Right. And I think that J.R.R. Martin actually confirmed that.
So the reason I brought it up is because somebody of Naomi Watts' level of acting is going to be on this show. And
Sean Bean did get killed off in the first season.
He did get killed off in the first season. So Screen Rant, when I was looking at something else for today's show, Screen Rant had this theory. And I'm going to read what they have on here. Screen Rant's theory. Production is well underway of HBO's Game of Thrones prequel series. No. The rumored title is The Long Night. That's from J.R.R. Martin.
Right.
And Naomi Watts has been cast as the female lead, and it's theoretically possible that she is going to play the first Lannister.
Okay.
While next to nothing is known about her role aside from HBO's cryptic description of her being a charismatic socialite and the lack of specificity allows allows for room for speculation of what's going to happen. Their speculation, Screen Rant speculation, is what has been officially titled The Long Night is set more than 8,000 years before the events of the flagship series during the Age of Heroes. This period in Westerosian history takes place after the arrival of the first men and their subsequent conflict with the Children of the Forest, which they just introduced in the last season.
Right.
According to the show canon, the Long Night occurs as a result of the children creating the first White Walkers in an attempt to mold soldiers that could defeat the men attacking them. As fans know, the Walkers eventually rose up against both men and the Children of the Forest, and they both fought the first White Walker army back. Subsequently, Stark ancestors built the wall to act as a barrier against any further attacks. So, if we have the spoilers for Game of Thrones, if you're not caught up, 3, 2, 1. If we have the fall of the wall at the end of the series, why not go back and do the build up of it and stuff?
Yeah.
So it's a huge money maker for them.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones.
It's also a huge universe.
Yeah. It's gigantic. It's
so
dumb.
There's so much they could play with, but this totally makes sense that if they end this this one this way, that they go back and start at the beginning, and then if it continues, maybe there'll be fatigue and people won't watch this new one as much as the old one.
Right.
Then they can just wrap it up and be done. But if it continues to roll along, then they've got all the stuff in the middle to play with.
There's a whole bunch of stuff in the universe that I both know and don't know, and I don't want to get into it because I don't want to make a fool of myself more than normal. But this is an example of a show that could work.
Yeah.
We had Breaking Bad, and they went back and did the prequel of
Better Call Saul. Yeah.
Now, we have friends that work in the show, so we're always going to pump that show. But that show
is doing well.
It's doing really well and doing great. They're doing the same thing now with Mayans from Sons of Anarchy.
Right.
And they've done it with The Fear of the Walking Dead from The Walking Dead.
That one is not doing quite so well. But
so does this... I know the answer is, does this feel like HBO reaching to keep that Game of Thrones universe under their umbrella, or because we know that Amazon is trying to do a Game of Thrones level thing with the Tolkien universe, and everybody's trying to get that big show.
It makes sense. Like I said, there's plenty to work with, and it's if it goes away totally, it's left a void, right? So Star Trek or Star Wars, if they just stop, then there's all these fans. Firefly. There's all these fans out there going,
you had to bring that up.
But there's I have a void. I can't get this. All I can watch is the old stuff. So they can fill the void, and like I said, if it works, then there's all this other stuff that they can go with. And if it doesn't work, then they can just wrap it up and be done and move on to the next thing.
Maybe
but it totally makes sense.
I feel like you're gonna get at least 2 seasons out of this show.
Probably, yeah.
You're and although their Screen Rant's theory said that they have already started filming, there's nothing official out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that anywhere.
The only thing that we know for sure is that the last season of Game of Thrones, the production is done. They're doing the editing and special effects because dragons.
They've wrapped.
They wrapped a while ago, and the rumor is April for it to come out. Now, we will be doing a episode by episode, whatever, and we're going to go back and rewatch the whole series. Sometime probably around Christmas moving forward.
Yeah.
But I just feel like this is part of me is like, I'm not really sure, but if you're going to bring in somebody's of Naomi Watts level and back it up with maybe some unknowns who can play at that level, then the show should be good. And you have a female showrunner this time, so you're going to get a different feel, a different look. So you're going to have the same universe, but some newness to it. And that would be really cool.
Yep.
And so
That
is this week's episode of TV Time. What did you guys think? Are you excited about the Game of Thrones prequel? Are you excited about the Disney streaming service? How do you feel about Luke Cage and Iron Fist going away? All the stuff pretty much from Netflix and HBO is what we're talking about this week. Oh, by the way, the Elseworlds crossover event has finished wrapped, and I can't wait for it to come out in December. I'm so excited. Stephen Amell as the Flash. Just saying. So let us know. Subscribe to the channel. We've already asked you once. Don't make us ask again. It sounds like begging. Hit the bell for notifications. Leave us a comment on your thoughts. Like the video. You can get a hold of us, too, on our social media network. We are on Facebook at PopCultureCult, PopCultureCult1 on Instagram, Pop_Cult1 on Twitter. We're on Stardust. Download it for free from your app stores, whatever they are. React to everything you're watching. Just follow us first. And until the next time, good afternoon now.